Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show where we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about Call of the Night Season 1, Episode 9. Great episode, a lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So this ends up being a very Syria-centered episode, as obviously she's kind of grown bored. Obviously the complicated thing about being a vampire, and also like the what was that opening line from her was kind of like what's the most popular existence in the world, and it's a high school girl. And so once again, the whole thing is to be vampires is to be popular, is to kind of make it easier for people to fall in love with you and romance you so you can make more offsprings. And you can tell she's kind of getting bored, all the people blowing up her phone about stuff. And she sees Ko and she tries to get close to him and immediately gets kneed in the face by Nazuna, who was like, yo, Ko, are you okay? He's like, hey, she literally didn't do anything to me yet. It's all good. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, did she actually do something to you? Because it's like, sometimes, like, my leg, like, just, like, acts out of reaction because I just don't like her face. Which Ko's like, I appreciate you saying at first, like, oh, you did it for my sake. I appreciate that, despite me saying, like, I'm good. But now it's like, well, you defeated the purpose of all that because now you told me you didn't need me as an excuse to knee her in the face. You would have done it regardless. I think that's Nazuna, like, putting up a front. She legitimately did it because Ko's there. She's very protective of him. Makes sense. Literally, they ganged up on you and tried to attack you before. So obviously, she's extra protective. Any vampire, but especially Kasiri, because she came so close to you back in episode 7. So of course, she's not going to let that happen again. But either way, you could tell Siri was just kind of like, no, I just wanted to kind of hang out with Ko or whatever, wanted to talk with him. And you can tell she wanted to, but she was trying to pretend like, nah, I'm just messing with you. I got close to him just so I can mess with you, that's all, and walks away. But Ko's like, nah, it seemed like you wanted to talk to me because you said you were kind of fed up with a lot of things. Like when we talked in episode 7, it's like, I don't think that was BS. I could tell you were telling the truth because Ko wants to help her. He can tell like, yo, there's something bothering you, and obviously you kind of want to talk it out, but you're kind of too embarrassed to admit it, or don't want to even admit it to yourself what it is. And so it's like, let's kind of go do something. So she takes him to go do karaoke. I also love it's like, oh, is Nazuna gonna have an issue? But it's like, nah, she could tell me to kind of go off and do whatever I want to. But I think because of later on, it's kind of like, well, she said that, but either she told Ko, like, no, I'm going to be nearby for him to know, like, the press to watch later. So it's like, she must have been like, if anything goes down, I'll be in the general area watching from far enough away that she doesn't realize I'm there, but close enough that I can get there quickly enough and take care of business if need to. But they're singing karaoke, and obviously she picks a very popular song, but Ko doesn't know it. And she's like, well, you're not hyping me up. You're not singing along. You're not doing anything. She's like, you're so busy picking the next song. He's like, well, I don't know this one. She's like, well, this is the song. How do you not know? He's like, well, I haven't been really watching TV lately. And she's like, why are you bragging about that? He's like, wait, not watching TV is like a bragging thing to do now? And so it's like the clash of like, who Ko, like, because it makes sense because once again, she's the popular in the know person. It just comes with the territory. He's not. He really hasn't had much reason to because he doesn't interact with anyone outside of that who really care. Like Nazuna doesn't really care about that type of stuff, and he doesn't go to school where he would pick up on stuff like that because you'd have to be a lot more if he wouldn't. He'd have to be a lot more in the know about like that pop cultural zeitgeist stuff if he went to school, but he's not. He's just keeping himself hanging out with Nazuna, who doesn't care about that stuff. So of course he'd be out of the loop of that type of thing. So he ends up picking a song, but the song he ends up playing, which we see, it seems like he got a decent score. He got like 9.1, which based on the Yakuza games, I can, like, the little I've seen people play the Yakuza games, I'm assuming the score is like out of 10. So but I thought it was, but maybe it was like, because I think there are some that are like out of 100, like those karaoke machine games. But I don't know. That might have been out of 10. That might have been out of 100. But like, Siri was caught off guard because she was like, wait, that song's from like 3 decades ago. Why are you into that? He's like, I don't know, man. I like it. I just do. Because she's like, I've always heard the chorus to that, but I've never really heard the lyrics to it. It's kind of a really nice song. So, and I think because like there's a romantic element to it, which plays into her story. But before they can continue, we had this creepy angle to the story where we later on learn his name is Akiyama, but he comes on the door because I guess he tracked down where she was, and he's banging on the door real creepy, like, oh, and he almost acts like a zombie. I was like, oh, that's kind of creepy. And Ko's the only one freaking out, but she isn't. She's like, it's fine, whatever. It's like, see, I just give him a little attention and he kind of goes away. That's all it really takes. But Ko's kind of like, well, maybe you should like, talk to the person. I'm trying to remember what it was exactly that sparked it, because he was trying to give her advice and she's just like, yo, like, I'm not asking for like serious advice here. Like, what, you can hang out with Nazuna without really worrying about things, but like all of a sudden when you're hanging out with me, you can't really just hang out with me and it be fine. Because for her, it's like she finds the whole situation so annoying, and for her it's just like, right, because of the whole popular thing, and it's just like people get like that around her, and it's like, oh, the easiest thing I guess I should just do is to kill him, which then Ko was like, no, you can't do that. And she's like, okay, here you go. You want to take, like, you humans don't really care too much about, other humans dying, but the moment it's me, a vampire, wanting to kill a human, then all of a sudden, because we exist outside your rules, you want to constrain us. But Ko's like, no, sometimes you're just going to have to kill people. But he's like, I don't think he's the one that you need to do that with. Akiyama comes into the room, and I love the coloring of the scene, because she's kind of like, it's almost like this is her killer mode. Like the room is like the coloring of like everything is like bright pink, and she's about to go in for the kill, but luckily Ko gets Akiyama and like takes off with him. And they start talking a little bit, because at first he's like, yo, like, what's your connection to Siri? But Ko was like, no, there's nothing going on between us. He's like, no, I don't believe you, like, because the fact that you're hanging out together. And so it's like, hey, like, calm down, dude, and kind of explain things. Akiyama talks about when he first met her, and he had just, I mean, not just, but he kind of talks about an ex-girlfriend. He talks about how, like, love can be blind. And just the whole conversation about, like, the dopamines that are kind of released, the extra dopamines that are released in your head. He's like, it's like the equivalency of getting high off of certain drugs. Oh, God, I'm butchering it. But I remember Siri said something that caught his attention. I'm so sorry. I wish I could remember what it was exactly she said, but from that moment on, they started hanging out. And for him, it was this complicated feeling of like, it's the situation of, oh, I always want to know what she's doing and what she's up to. Because initially he was like, yeah, like, I kind of accepted things as they are. Like, it was kind of chill, but it just got to the point, like, the time when we weren't together became longer and longer. And I started kind of like, I let the negative thoughts kind of get in my head and kind of consume me. And he's like, I recognize, like, that's not a good thing and kind of a bad quality. And I'm probably, like, annoying her and bothering her. But Ko kind of talks about him, and it's like, right, it's not more so you, it's just kind of like certain aspects about the whole situation annoy her. And then finally she shows up being like, hey, I'm going to tell you the truth, Akiyama. I'm a vampire. The fact of the matter is I'm just going to have to kill you because of the whole spiel of like, right, we kind of attract people to eventually make them into offsprings. And it's kind of, yeah, that's not where this is going to go, so I have to kill you now. And Ko sets off the alarm and lets from the transponder, and Nazuna shows up and takes her down. But she was also implying like, oh, here you are threatening to kill someone, but you've never done it before. So she made it sound like maybe I misread the subtitles, but I could have sworn like Nazuna was saying like, oh, you've never actually killed anyone before. This would be your first kill. I think that's what she was saying, but maybe I'm misremembering, or maybe I misread the subtitles really quickly. Either way, we kind of get at the heart of what this is really all about. It turns out that the thing she's grown bored of is, like I said, the popularity, because once again, it's like it's in their nature to reproduce and stuff. And so by default, it's kind of like, oh, like the romantic angle. She's like, I'm tired of that type of stuff. Because for her, it's like, I don't know how to have a regular conversation with a friend, because everything has that connotation of it's for the purpose of like, like she doesn't know how to talk to people regularly without kind of putting a romantic angle to it. So that also explains why she was avoiding Akiyama, because she didn't want because things were complicated for her. And it's just like, that's why she was keeping her distance, because she was scared that they would go down that route, because that's not the route she wants to go down anymore. And ultimately Nazuna lets her go, and Ko says that they really should have an honest conversation. and then she breaks down like after explaining like I'm a vampire and this and that, and a human and a vampire being friends can't work, but she breaks down because she's like, I want to still be friends because she does love hanging out with him, the fun that they have. It's like that's also what it was. She was envious of Nazuna and Ko, and yes, there's the alternative like ulterior thing of Ko is trying to become a vampire, but still, even without that connotation, Nazuna's not pushing for the romantic angle. It's just kind of like, yeah, what comes comes. But even then, it's like Ko and her still hang out and have fun, and she was jealous of that because she has that right now, but she's kind of worried like the nature of things. I'm like, I'm going to ruin this because it's going to become something I don't want it to become. I just want us to be friends, and I'm afraid she's afraid of losing that. And obviously things have gotten complicated because Akiyama he's like, yeah, I broke the rules first because I fell in love. Because I think for him it's like maybe this is me being in love, and from her perspective it's like maybe I can just have a friend. And once again, it's just like they're both operating in like a territory. Like he's, I think probably rebounding himself to some time frame after breaking up with an ex. And for her, it's like I'm contending with my existence and how I operate as a vampire, and kind of not wanting to operate like that anymore because I find it boring. But now it's like, yeah, I just have a straight up true friendship, and I don't want to do that. So like she was threatening to kill him just to push him away, because I love Ko called her out. He's like, you're the one that's hard to deal with. At least he's like very reasonable with his approach, but you, it's like, yo, he wants to hang out with you and be your friend, so you're gonna kill him. But it's because it was her like overreaction and fear that drove that decision. But Akiyama was like, yo, I'll like make me your offspring, and we can. She's like, but you'll be throwing away your human life. But for him, it's like it's okay. He's willing to do that if it means staying by her side. Which Ko's watching all of this as she makes him into a vampire, and Ko is a little jealous, as the title of the episode says. It's like for him, it's like, oh, it's a little unfair how it kind of comes a little easier to them. And Nazuna kind of catches that. It's like, oh, I bet you were thinking how unfair it was. But she's like, it's okay. We can basically take our time. We don't kind of have to rush to the end result, Once again, it's not just about the destination. It's about the journey there. And it's a necessary journey, I think, for everyone. Not just Ko, but also Nazuna to kind of go down this route. So, but Akiyama is full-blown vampire now. And they're hanging out together at karaoke. And Ko's just looking around like, oh, this is fun. Because once again, it's like he doesn't really hang around too many crowds nowadays. It's usually just him and Nazuna hang out. Then, a little him, Akira, obviously him, Akira, Mahiru, hung out a little bit last episode. So, yeah, some interesting developments I wasn't expecting on the series front. Because I was curious about the whole being friends thing. It's like, yeah, that's not really a rule. I mean, the rule is you can't really be friends. Like, especially now that she outed herself as a vampire. I think even if if the person doesn't know you're a vampire, I think it's fine. But like once again, Nazuna like already outed herself and was continuously drinking from Ko, so that's what made that. Because once again, their circumstances is an exception, but that's only because Ko is in the process of trying to become a vampire. I don't know if she had never told Akiyama in this moment that she was a vampire, could they have continued without it being an issue? I mean, the issues it was all symptoms of a deeper issue that she wasn't really continuing with, because she wasn't talking to him about everything because she doesn't know how to like just talk to someone as a friend and not wanting to lose her friend. Once again, he is in love with her, obviously, because he became a vampire, but I wonder, does that change like going forward what their relationship is? It's like, no, I just want us to be friends. But maybe it's just, it's always it's that thing of you can date someone, it's like, yeah, the best thing is when you end up dating your best friend, not necessarily like legitimately dating, like, oh, you and your best friend start dating, but it's like the person you're so close with that they essentially, your partner is your best friend. That's when you're really like, yo, you've hit the jackpot. So I'm wondering if that's kind of how that's going to go, or will it just be platonic going forward? I don't know. I'm really unsure like how that is going to play out. We'll probably have to cut back to her storyline going forward and kind of see where things currently stand. So I'm really interested to see what the next episode has in store for us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I wanted to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good Bye.